friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 24th of January and we are going to discuss three very important topics which are in news. The subcategorization of scheduled caste. In November 2023, the Prime Minister visited Telangana and met the members of Madiga community. Madiga community comprises of 50% of the scheduled caste population of Telangana, and they demanded subcategorization. This was not the first time they demanded subcategorization of caste. What is subcategorization? It is basically, when a certain subsection of a group is demanding benefits. Why this subsection is demanding benefits? Because there is a lot of backwardness among that subsection. Is subcategorization legal? Actually, we cannot say anything about it because the Supreme Court will begin hearing on this particular issue. It has already formed a 7-judge bench and this may begin hearing anytime soon on this. Next is Chinese research vessel in Maldives. India was apprehensive that the research vessel which visited Sri Lanka last year is now visiting Maldives. It is on a journey to Maldives. So we asked a question from the Maldivian Foreign Ministry and Maldivian Foreign Ministry has replied that they are not coming for research purpose. What are they coming for? They are coming for a port call. What is a port call? When ships on their way to the destination, they visit various ports for various purposes. Now the purpose for this Chinese ship's port call is exchange of Chinese personnel stationed there in Maldives and supply of essential commodities to the person stationed there. But yes, why was a research ship sent for that? That has to be a cause of concern and is a cause of concern for India. Next is Nayak Karpuri Thakur to be awarded Bharat Ratna. Bharat Ratna is the highest civilian honor in India and Karpuri Thakur is a noted politician. I would say was a noted politician who served as Chief Minister of Bihar for 2 terms, 70 to 71 and 77 to 79. He is known for his stand on social justice. He believed in delivering the benefits to the poorest of the poor. He was an ardent advocate of education. He also kept forward the demands of the workers, industrial workers, or the youth, or even the rich class. That is why he was known as a Neta for all. Jan Nayak was the title earned by him. And now he is being awarded this Bharat Ratna. So let's get started and see one by one the details. So subcategorization of scheduled caste. First we need to understand what subcategorization means. There is this, let's suppose, grouping, scheduled caste grouping, and among scheduled caste there will be certain sections of the scheduled caste that will be more vulnerable as compared to others. Now, by subcategorization, we will identify them separately and we will give access to benefits to them separately, or we will give them more access to benefits so that they can uplift themselves and become at par with other members of the community. And for that purpose, the Union government has formed a high-level committee of secretaries chaired by Cabinet Secretary. The job of this committee would be to evaluate and work out a method for equitable distribution of benefits. Equitable simply means you provide more benefits to the more vulnerable. This is basically the concept of equity. Now, overall 1200 scheduled castes are there across the country, and in all of them, the most vulnerable sections will be found out. But the question is that is subcategorization legal? Actually, we cannot say right now whether it is legal or not. A 7-judge constitution bench of Supreme Court is expected to soon start hearing the matter of whether the subcategorization of SCs and STs is at all permissible or not. In the constitution, nothing is there. Article 341, 342 of the constitution are there, which point towards nothing. Which point towards nothing about subcategorization. 341 says that President is empowered to include or exclude persons in the scheduled caste list. 342 says President is empowered to include or exclude persons in the scheduled tribe list. This is basically what is mentioned in the constitution. Nothing about subcategorization is mentioned. Multiple state governments have tried subcategorization. All of them have run under litigation, and that is why the matter is under Supreme Court. Now, why is this committee formed? This committee is formed for meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi's commitment to the Madiga community. Madiga community is a community belonging to Telangana. They are SCs living in Telangana. And when I talk about the SC population of Telangana, they comprise 50% of SC population of Telangana. SC population living in Telangana is 15% of the total population of Telangana. Technically speaking, they are 7.5% of the population of Telangana. And they are one of the most vulnerable communities or subcategories under scheduled castes in Telangana. This is not the first time they have demanded subcategorization or special focus. They've been demanding it right from very long, 1992, 2005. But at that time that was not possible. But let's see now how it becomes possible. Because this Madiga community is a substantial chunk. So this is what it is. And this particular committee which has been formed, it is not only going to look into the concerns of the Madiga community, it is going to look into the concerns of all the 1200 scheduled castes in India. In all the 1200 scheduled castes, the committee is going to identify the most vulnerable subsections of each caste and how to provide them access of benefits to the most vulnerable. Now, is this with the Madiga community of Telangana only? This, certain subsection of any caste is backward, others are forward. No, it is there with almost every caste. Like the Madiga community, SC community in several states have said that they have been routinely crowded out of benefits meant for scheduled caste. Actually, scheduled caste overall get benefits, but there are some people in scheduled caste who get access to more benefits because of their social status or because of their educational status, and benefits to other scheduled castes are not extended. They are crowded out. So commissions formed by the state and union government have also supported the argument that several SC communities often miss out on benefits. As a result, multiple states like Punjab, Bihar and Tamil Nadu have tried to bring in reservation laws at the state level in a bid to subcategorize the SCs. But all of these laws have run under litigation, and that is why this matter is now with the Supreme Court, for which the Supreme Court has formed a 7-judge bench to look into the matter whether subcategorization is permissible or not. What is this committee going to do in the center formed by the Prime Minister? Is it actually going to, I would say, subcategorize so that a separate quantum of reservation is provided to them, to the members of the most vulnerable members of the scheduled caste? No, actually not. We'll see what it will do. This high-level panel of secretaries has been formed with a strict mandate to look into other ways of taking care of their grievances. Because providing them a separate quantum of reservation has already run into litigation. It has already been tried by various state governments like Punjab, Bihar or Tamil Nadu. So it is not going to do this. It is going to find out other ways of taking care of their grievances. There means the most vulnerable. Vulnerable SCs. What will the committee do? The committee will consist of secretaries from Home Ministry, Law Ministry, Tribal Affairs Ministry, Social Justice Ministry and the Department of Personnel and Training, in addition to the Cabinet Secretary. Cabinet Secretary obviously will be heading this. We've already seen that. Now, with the question of breaking up the scheduled caste quota off the table, the panel will look into ways in which benefits of other government schemes and initiatives can be focused towards these SC communities. Means already existing schemes and I would say benefits for the SCs which are not able to reach these most vulnerable sections of the scheduled caste community. This panel will look into the ways in which these benefits reach to these communities. Just like particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Just like that PM Janman, which we studied. That PM Janman Yojana is not a separate Yojana, but yes, a special emphasis on all the existing schemes. And those existing schemes should reach to the PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups, the most vulnerable among the tribal groups. Here also, we are trying to identify the most vulnerable among the scheduled caste. So, this committee will be looking into that. So, this includes ways to design special initiatives for communities that need it, focusing on existing programs and schemes towards them to ensure a more even distribution of benefits. While it has not been given a specific deadline, the committee has been asked to present its finding at the earliest. This is basically what the committee is going to do. It is not going to, give or grant any separate quantum of reservation, just like those state government laws did. That is why they run into litigation. But yes, it is going to identify and, identify firstly the most vulnerable sections of the scheduled caste, and then provide them with special focus the already existing schemes and benefits for the most vulnerable of them. Now, Chinese research vessel in Maldives. Maldives rules research by Chinese vessel in its water. Rules out means Maldives says that the Chinese vessel which is coming is not going to do any research work over here. The name of the vessel is Jiang Yang Hong 3. But since Maldives has ruled out, so we will have to, at least as of now, see that for what purpose this Chinese vessel is coming. The Chinese vessel's visit is the latest source of tension amid strained Maldives-India ties. India does not want these kind of research vessels, particularly of China, to be hovering in the Indian Ocean region. Such kind of research vessels came in Sri Lanka. We objected for it. Particularly after the crisis in Sri Lanka, these vessels came. Now, last year, Sri Lanka has clearly said that a year-long moratorium on foreign research vessels they have imposed. No foreign research vessels will come in Sri Lankan waters for a year at least. Actually, this was the same vessel which came to Sri Lanka. Now it is headed towards Maldives. The research vessel is expected to reach Maldives early February. It had sought clearance from Colombo last year, but now Colombo last year had imposed this moratorium, means no research is going to happen. So this did not happen in Sri Lanka, but now it can happen in Maldives. But Maldives is saying that this is not coming for research. Then what it is coming for? It is coming for a port call. Now, what is a port call? A port call is when a ship stops during a journey except for its home port. It can also be defined as a port where a cargo or passenger ship stops to load or unload cargo or to embark on or disembark passengers. So basically a train, you can consider the ship as a train going from its I would say home to its destination, and in the midst there are stations. It stops on the stations, passengers get down, get up. Even if any goods have to be loaded on the train, they get loaded. Something like this can happen. That is a port call. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said a diplomatic request was made by the Chinese government to the Maldivian government for necessary clearances to make a port call for rotation of personnel, rotation of Chinese personnel basically who are there stationed in Maldives, and replenishment. Now, are Chinese stationed in Maldives? Yes, they are stationed in Maldives. Actually, China has been building one of the major tourist or tourism hubs in Maldives named as Fedu Fenolu Islands. And for that purpose, the Chinese are present over there. The Chinese presence is expected to increase also in the present government, because this government is said to be pro-China. So, this is all what was there with respect to this particular research ship. And now the last piece of news, Jan Nayak Karpuri Thakur to get Bharat Ratna. First of all, Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honor. Jan Nayak means a politician of, or I would say a politician of the people, of all the categories of the people. Jan Nayak is that person. And Karpuri Thakur was actually that kind of a politician who was for all, whether the poor, middle class, or the rich, whether the farmers, industrialists, or any members of the industries, whether the students or youth, anyone. He is known for his stand on social justice. Now, he was born on 24th January 1924, died on 17th February 1988, and today happens to be his birth anniversary. And that is why this announcement was done for him, that Bharat Ratna will be awarded to him this year. Political party, he was associated with Socialist Party, Bharatiya Kranti Dal, Janata Party, and Lok Dal. Terms as CM of Bihar, 2 terms. First was December 1970 to June 1971, just a 6-month stint it was, and June 1977 to April 1979, almost 2 years. This was the time post-emergency when the Congress government fell and the Janata Party government was in power in the center as well as there. Now in 1977, when Janata Party came to power in the center as well as in Bihar, so when he was the chief minister, an incident happened when the leadership from Delhi visited Patna to wish JP on his birthday. So he also attended that meeting, and in the meeting he went with a torn kurta. So Mr. Chandrasekhar, basically he, in his own style, he said ki bhai, give him some donation so that he can get a kurta for himself, and he was given donation. And he, in his own style, donated the entire amount into Chief Minister's Relief Fund. He said that I don't want it. In fact, a colony was being carved out where, land was being allotted to all the ministers and obviously the Chief Minister and MLAs of the states also. So he said that I don't want any of the land. And when he died, and those politicians who got the land visited his home in his village, they saw the condition of his house and they were in tears. It was extremely bad. And this testifies the mindset of this person. That, despite being at that level, the chief minister of the state, he was not greedy at all. So, this is what his ideals and principles were. His contributions was mainly social justice. It was most dear to Jananayak Karpuri Thakur. His political journey was marked by monumental efforts to create a society where resources were distributed fairly. This is actually the essence of social justice. And everyone, regardless of their social standing, had access to opportunities. This is actually what the essence of social justice is, and that is what he was, very much fond of. He wanted to address the systematic inequalities that plagued Indian society, particularly the caste inequalities. He belonged to the lower caste, powerfully voicing the struggles of the working class, laborers, small farmers, as well as youngsters. He worked to improve education facilities for the poor. He believed that if poor will be educated, then they will be able to mobilize up. And that is why he was a proponent for education in local languages. And this actually has been adopted in the National Education Policy of 2020, where education in vernacular languages is being promoted. Then he took many steps for the welfare of senior citizens as well. So, Jan Nayak, Neta for all. One of Jan Nayak Karpuri Thakurji's most significant contribution was his role in strengthening the affirmative action apparatus for the backward classes. Affirmative action means providing them reservation. There was this movement, the BP Mandal Commission was formed, and BP Mandal was an MP. He also belonged to Bihar. he identified that 52% of the population in India is backward. They need to be given reservation, and so in 1991-92, reservation was given to the other backward classes category, 27%. He himself, belonging to a backward class, was a proponent of this. His decision was met with heavy opposition, but he did not bow to any pressure. Under his leadership, policies were implemented that laid the groundwork for a more inclusive society where one's birth did not determine one's fate. And he also participated in notable political movements like the Quit India movement in 1942 and the JP Andolan against emergency. Emergency was imposed in 1975, June 1975, and it was revoked in 1977 March. In all those years, he was very active in opposing the emergency. And that is why, just after the emergency, elections were there, and he became the chief minister of Bihar. And now he has been awarded with this Bharat Ratna. The Prime Minister himself has written an article today in the newspaper, that is the Hindu, and praising his contributions to the Indian society, to the Indian politics, has said that we have decided to grant him. He also said that, we till, in today's era, our government is following in the footsteps of the ideals of Karpuri Thakurji. He said that we have brought out 25 crore Indians out of poverty. Mudra loans are available for, the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and the most vulnerable section of the society, which can make them, entrepreneurs. Likewise, he said we have many programs for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, OBCs, the vulnerable sections of the society, which will help them uplift. And the true essence of social justice is this: when you bring social justice in governance. Social justice in political speeches have been delivered by many, but Jan Nayak Karpuri Thakurji brought this in his governance, and this is what has inspired us also in the present day era, and that is why we are also following in his footsteps. So, this was all about today's session. Now, I will be taking your leave. I will be ending today's session, and I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste. Jai Hind.